So with each bird we start with defeathering or plucking the bird. So each bird will be different in shape, size, types of feathers, and then also with how easy the feathers can come out. Some feathers just pull out very easy like this, and then some can be a little bit tougher. Whilst we are defeathering, we want to be careful. One of the key things to take into consideration here is that we are taking the feathers out of the skin of the bird, and we want this to be intact as possible. So when we take out the feathers, you can see here that the breast will start to become visible, and this is where we want to take our time, because any rips in this now will cause us problems in the cooking of the bird later on. So just take your time to pull them out. It's a messy job, but it's part of game season. It is a long job. Do not rush it. You might tend to want to feel like you're bored here and speed up. But this is one of the beautiful things of game birds. You appreciate this job, take your time on it. So as you go down the neck, you will want to start to speed up. It does come out faster, but the whole time you're doing this, it's important that we are constantly taking care to make sure that we leave the skin of the bird intact. So you're going to take off all of the feathers all the way down to the head, and then we will take off all of the feathers to the wing joint. We will not be using the wings or the actual head of the animal, and we will take off all of the feathers here as well on the legs, because the legs will be used in the preparation. So we're going to carry on taking off all of the feathers to that stage, and then we will show you what to do next. So now that I have all of the feathers off, you'll see here that it has this small amount of like fluff. They're very, very minute feathers. The quickest way that we'll just take off these little ones right here that you can see that do remain behind is with the blowtorch. So you just light the blowtorch, and you don't want to cook it here or do the texture. It's just over the top. It cinches the hairs really quickly, and it's just on the pieces that we'll be using. So all over, and you can see that it'll shrink the skin ever so slightly. So after we've blowtorched the bird to remove all of the minute little hairs, you'll see here that it leaves these little black dots, and this is just very easy to get rid of. You just scrape it with the knife and they fall off. And then after you've done that, it just leaves pure duck skin. This is the stage of where, if you wish to, you can age the game birds. So taking the feathers off is very important. You don't want this all in your fridge. But at this stage, as you see the game bird right now, this is where you would hang the bird. So with a meat hook or string in the fridge, you want to make sure that it has nice air all the way around it, because if they're touching each other or if they're onto a tray, it's where the bird can sweat, and then this actually leads to the bird deteriorating rather than aging. So by the neck, nice and cleanly, so the air can be all around the bird. This is how you would age it. You can age it to your preference as long as you want. While the inside of the bird remains, the flavour of the bird will be getting stronger and stronger, and this is up to you where you decide how long you would like that flavour to mature. Me personally, with all of the birds, I do like to still hang them, but I like to take out, whilst defeathering them, the inside straight away, so that I believe that you get a much more unique flavour from each bird at that stage, rather than the aging, which I sometimes think can become a stereotype flavour. But after the guts have been taken out in the preparation, we will always hang these birds for at least a couple of days for the flesh to firm and for the skin to also dry a little bit, which results in much better cooking. So now we're going to butcher the first game bird, the mallard, and I like to wear gloves as we take out the insides of the bird. That gets a little bit bloody, and just keeps the product nice and clean, your hands nice and clean. So good boning knife is key. Make sure it's nice and sharp, sturdy blade, and then I'm going to show you the concept of taking down each bird. So first thing to do, In this bird, we're not going to use the feet or the head today. So we want to get rid of the bits of the bird that we're not going to use. So just cut from the neck. Within the neck, you have the skin and the actual neck itself. We want to use as much of this as possible. So when cutting the neck, you want to pull up as far as you can to the head and then one cut through. So this will be not using. And then also with the feet. So everything here, apart from the insides, is now usable to us. So from the little winglets in the sauce, to the neck in the sauce, to the skin, to the legs. So this is now what we class as prime use for the restaurant. So we want to now respect this bird as much as we can. So first we're going to take out the guts. So we make an incision in the back here where the guts are. And when you make the incision, don't come too close to the skin, because when this cooks, this skin will come back like this, and then it will expose the breast and damage the cooking. So we want to come down, we want to push the skin down as far as we can and leave that intact. So just making a small slit here in the bird. So now we have a slit in the bird. And when we put our fingers into this, we're going to be able to remove the insides of the game bird. When you put your fingers in, you want to be able to feel your fingers to the top of the carcass. And as you push down, you'll be able to feel as you're pushing down the insides of the birds. To each side, you have the rib cage. With your fingers, you just want to very gently release the insides from that rib cage. And then from there, we're able to start to pull out the insides. So you hang on to here. From the neck, you will have the windpipe, which goes into the stomach. So you can see here now that this is pulling here. And you can see that it's very tense because I'm pulling that through. When you get to that, you can just get a better grip on there and then pull through. And that will come straight out. So that is from the mouth of the duck. So we have this hanging out now. It's not too pretty, but this is real. Then we go back into the inside of the bird, and you just want to feel for the rest of the bird inside and pull this out. So you can see here that it gets very messy. At this point, with this hand, we don't want to touch any of the skin or the rest of the bird, and we will come back to clean this with paper towels in a second. Anywhere that you touch the blood on the carcass of the bird results in the bird later burning in those spots. So you just feel to make sure that the bird's empty inside. There could always be little pieces left like this into the rib cage of the bird. So at this stage, we're going to get it to this stage. We're just going to deal with this here. I'll show you the different things within this which we can use. So we'll just put the bird to one side for now. So with the insides of game birds, or any bird, even chicken, there is beautiful things inside to use. The difference with game birds, and every game bird will be different, is as it is a shot bird, where the shot enters and leaves the bird is different in every single bird. And sometimes with how the insides come out, this will make a difference. So sometimes you will pull the insides and everything will come out, and the heart, the gizzards, the liver will be completely intact and usable. And sometimes it would have been shot through and it won't be usable. With this one, it looks like we're going to be able to use everything. So we have the heart of the duck. So this will be in every game bird, the heart. We also have the livers. So this is attached here to the gizzard. So we were able to use the gizzard in preparations. We're also able to use the beautiful livers, and then the rest of the duck, the intestines, and the other little bits and the waist track. We have no use for that. So I'm just going to cut the livers off from the gizzards. So this is the gizzard. And then the livers. So you can see here that this part of the liver here is pretty much immaculate. That is an absolute stunning liver. Same on the other side. So you have the two sides of the liver, and then all of this part here, we have no use for this in it with the game birds. So with the heart, it's all we want to remove is the very bottom of the heart. So the rest of the heart is going to be completely usable. So just this small sliver off of the bottom. And we're going to come back to clean the gizzards with a paper towel. And then we also, when we have them completely clean, only with game birds, just to give them a little wash and take off any of the bitterness that can come from game birds, we give them a little wash and soak in fresh milk. So with the gizzards, it has a membrane around the outside, and then also the gizzards is where the feed of the duck will come in, and these gizzards work like this, side by side, to break down what the duck's been eating. So as we cut through that, we will see what the duck was eating, and that we want to get rid of. And we just now want to take off the membrane. And then when we get to the middle, you can see that you have a gizzard here. So this is 1, and then you have 2. And then inside is the sac of where it's feeding. So we're just going to cut down the middle. And this is the last job because we don't want any of this. And then you can see inside here of what the duck's been eating. So from like there's even some small stones in here, and then the grass, and it will appear to actually look like and sound like sand. It's actually like grit. So where it's feeding in the bottom of the ponds, the water or the floor, and it's picking up all of this stuff on the thing. And this actually sort of like works together. You can hear it, that it grinds down all of the food. So it's very, very important that we get rid of all of that. It's not nice at all. So with the knife, we scrape it all out. And the last step before we go on to wash the offal is we're just going to cut the bottom of the gizzards off. So this now exposes the gizzards. So this is the stage of finishing the offal. So we have the 2 gizzards, the heart and the 2 livers. So at this stage we're going to change gloves, clean down our board, and then just come back to washing and prepping the offal so we have it ready to use. Okay, so now we've cleaned down, fresh gloves. We have some just nice cold fresh milk, and we're going to wash the offal. So we have our gizzards, just going to put it into the milk along with the livers and the heart. So as soon as you put it into the milk, you can see the blood very, very quickly coming out. And this is the first wash. So we're not going to get everything off in an initial wash. And we'll give it a little soaking in fresh milk after this one to make sure that it's completely gone. But you can see now that it's a lot cleaner. At this point, with the tip of the knife, you can just look into the cavities of the heart to make sure that there is no blood clot. One more nice little wash with each piece, and then into fresh milk, and then from there we're going to add that to the fridge just to soak for a few hours. So gizzards washed. We have a further little bit of prep to do on the gizzards of taking the sinew off, but we'll just soak it in the milk before we do that. Okay, now we're going to break down the bird into all of its different joints. First we want to finish the cleaning of the bird. So where we pulled the insides out, we've made some blood marks. So you just take some nice clean paper towels, and we want to wipe that blood away. Inside there will be still a lot of blood and things to wipe. But as we take the bird down into each stage, we'll get better access to that. So just make sure that your gloves and your hands are always clean. Like I said at the beginning, we don't want to get blood onto the prime carcass of the bird. So I start with the neck. So every chef will have these different stages on how to break down one of these birds and rhythms, but the neck is always first for me. So I start with the knife, and you're just going to start of where the neck starts. So about here is where the carcass finishes. So just an incision into the neck. and then cut down so you've released the skin from the neck. So here you can see that it's now released. You just pinch in behind the neck with your finger and thumb, and then release the sinew from the neck to the skin. So the neck will come to around about here, so I can cut ever so slightly more. And then again, just with your finger or your thumb, releasing the neck, and now we have the full neck. So nothing attached to the neck, that's pure neck. You bring in your knife here, and then as you turn it over, that is the point where you'll cut. You just apply pressure and cut through. And now we have the pure neck of the duck. So there is meat attached to the neck. So if you were doing 20, 30 ducks, you would could take this neck onto a very light confit, take the time to pick off the meat. There isn't a lot of meat on there, but there is meat. For us, the best preparation for this is putting it into the meat sauces that we make here. So this will go on to be chopped up into small little pieces, beautifully caramelized and used as duck bone. After we've got the neck out, the next stage for me is to take out the wishbone. So within the neck you have the windpipe, so this can come out, and then with your finger again, we want to pierce this membrane. So there's the skin and then the membrane. We want to pierce the membrane to remove that, but not damaging the skin. So you start over here, so you can see my finger, and just very gently you want to work it in. Don't be aggressive here or impatient, because we don't want our finger to come through the skin. So just very, very gently. You can see here that I'm working, and if you look around here, you can see that I've this is the meat, the breast of the duck, and I've now come behind that piece of sinew, and then my finger will come out on the other side, and I've now come the whole way around the duck. So when you now look inside, I've released the sinew from the breast, and this is the first look of how incredible, rich and dark the breasts are on this mallard. So I've now released that sinew, so I want to take that out of the bird. So you just go around again with your finger, make sure it's fully released, and then one of the better ways to do that here is just to very gently now scrape this out with a knife. And then you will see the sinew coming off. So you can see inside now, the neck here is all cleaned out. So what will happen is in the initial cooking, we will tuck this over like this. This will cook and shrink back like this, and you know, this bit we won't actually use in the preparation, but it's key to leave it on because it acts as protection. So if we actually cut now where the breasts are, but when this cooks, this skin will come back like this, and then this will be affected by the heat, and then we will actually lose some prime piece of the breast. So to this stage, you can just neaten it up. So you can see here within the neck, but sometimes you get a few of these like little darker feathers. So it's around about there where we just want to straighten it off. So when this is done, this would be the prepped end of that duck. Before we do that, we have to take out the wishbone. So when you pull back the meat a little bit more, you can see the wishbone. It starts here and here, and then it comes up to meet into the middle. So we're just going to come either side of the bone with our knife and twist it and pull out. So hold the breast nice and firm. So just very gently, it's the super tip of the knife that we're using here. We don't want to go into the breast with a knife. We're just releasing the wishbone and keeping it taut as we go. So I've now exposed the bone. You can see the bone here, and I just want to come in on the other side of it like this now, through with my knife to this end, through on the other side. Okay, then you bring your knife down so we're completely through the bone, and you bring it down to the board, and then just apply a little bit of pressure and we're through. Same on the other side. And then the wishbone will be now exposed. So this goes ever so slightly back into the bird. So at this point here, you've gone from either side, so the bones here. I just ever so slightly loosen it a little bit more, and then it up onto the other side, and you just apply a little bit of pressure and it pops out. So this is now the wishbone of the duck. Again, can go into making the sauce. So now when we come to carve this, we come down each side and the wishbone is exposed. So to protect that in the cooking, this part will just come over. Next part is the wings. So like a chicken wing or a bigger duck, there's a lot of meat on chicken wings, duck wings. Depending on these ducks, you can see here that there's not a lot of meat on here, so it'd be a lot of work for not a lot of result. So we will always use these in the sauces as well. So just cutting through to the joint. I like to pop the joint, and then where it pops, you bring your knife back down and cut. So we're now done the cleanest part of the duck. This is what we class as the breast. And now we're going to take out the legs, because it's going to be the legs in the preparation of the mallard that we'll use for our sausage. And we just want to make the skin nice and taut, so we can get a nice little incision. And we're just going to pop a little hole first. And then with that hole, I'll use my thumb to go inside and find the duck leg. So the most important part of the bird in the preparation for today is the breasts of the birds. This is what we're trying to look after the most. So leaving the skin on the breast of the bird is key. With the sausage, we're going to only use the actual meat of the legs. So different in a bigger duck, where we might want the duck fat on the leg to remain, as though we were going to do confit duck leg, or actually use the fat of the duck for another process. But this one, it doesn't matter if we take it off. So what I'm doing is my thumb is now in there, and I'm loosening the fat from around the leg, and I want to come off onto the leg, but leaving as much fat as I can to protect the bird in the cooking. So you're taking off more fat here, leaving more fat onto the breast than you would if you was confiting a duck. So I've now exposed the duck meat, which you wouldn't do if you was confiting duck, but this isn't of interest to us on this preparation today. So one slit across, and here we want as much meat from the carcass to stay on the leg for the sausage as we can. Pop the knuckle, and then just taking off the leg. So a little bit smaller than a regular duck, but now we have the first leg off. So the same on the other side. So this is the next stage of the butchery. We have the rib cage now exposed on either side, and for this part, this is what we'll take off next. So I want to leave once again the skin as much as I can to here. So I come up through each rib cage. So you can see my knife coming through here, but I'm not going to come all the way through. I'm just going to travel down and then cut the skin a little longer at the bottom. Through the first rib cage, just through, and then cut. So we now have this attached for protection of the breast again. So you can now see inside of the duck. So there's a lot of blood in there still, but now we can see a lot better for the cleaning. So into here, around, you just sort of make a decision with the ball of the knife, a little hit here, and that'll crack the duck, and then you can just snap this, a little twist, and cut through with a knife. So you clean this out. You can wipe this out with the tissue, clean it all off. Generally lose the parson's nose. So the parson's nose is this piece that sits at the back, so just cut through. We will now clean this out. So it has two main blood lines down here. Just with your thumb, these can be pushed out. So like at the beginning, we've got blood on our hands again now. So we're going to be very careful in the touching of the duck. But we just pull this blood out. This is no good for anything. And then with the clean tissue that you have, you can just use this to wipe it completely out, so there's no nasty bits. We'll chop this up, and then this also goes into the sauce preparations. So give your hands a little wipe before we pick up the breast to make sure that there's no wet blood on our hands. So now in the inside, you can see when I was talking about putting your fingers in and cleaning down, you can feel it going into the ribs. So whilst everything came out beautifully on that side, we still have a little bit on the inside of this one. It just pulls out. The cleaner you have this on the inside, the better for the aging as well. It's not a step that should be skipped, because it's everything that's inside here is what deteriorates first. So very good wipe inside. Okay, so now we have the clean carcass. The breast is the prime here. So now put this into the fridge. We just want to make sure it's nice and neat. And how we put this into the fridge now will form the shape for us for its cooking. We're going to bone out the legs now, like you're boning out any bird. We just want to make the incision down each muscle to the bone. Has one bone going there, one bone going there. So we just want to expose the bones. So you can see the bone here and the bone here. Now we come up underneath with the tip of the boning knife through. With the boning knife, that's why they get their names. Just use the back of the knife to make sure the bone's nice and clean, getting 100% of the meat. Around this part of the leg, it has loads of sinews, which attaches itself to its leg. This is no good for mince. It gets stuck in the grinder and it never really cooks down. So just cut around that, and then this gives us access to the next part of the bone with the boning knife again all the way around. Any little bits of sinew we don't want there. So we now have the two bones exposed with the main amount of meat just hanging onto the joint, the knuckle. So I like to sort of pop it, so pull it back as far as it can go, and then we just cut around that like this. And then you have the bone with the little bit of knuckle, and this also goes into duck sauce. So here with the leg has been boned out, we're going to chill this down, and then this will then be shown later on into how we put this through for the sausage. Just because you have it here on the board, this is too big just to put through a mincer like this, so we can just cut this into slightly smaller pieces, probably into 4 pieces, just like so. We'll chill that in the fridge because we want that nice and chilled to go through the mincer so it goes through cleanly. Do exactly the same with the second leg, and then add it to the fridge to chill. So we have from one duck, we have the boned out leg meat, which will go on to be making a sausage. We have the prime part of the bird, the breasts, on the carcass ready for roasting. Then we have the bones of the animal, so the neck, the wings, the legs, and part of the carcass, which will be used along with the wishbone for the sauce. And then going back to our offal, which has been soaking in the milk, this can now come out. So you can see here that it's had a really nice soak. We're just going to add the offal to a paper towel to drain, and then we'll come back to use this later on in the dish. So that is now the full preparation of the mallard. So you will go on to do the same preparation with each of the game birds that I've shown you today. It's up to you what you use from every game bird. Every game bird is different, more time consuming, more gain. So with the pigeon legs, for example, you'll get a lot less meat than this. But if you want to go through the same process, it can be done, or they could be used for sauce. So in terms of everything that we have here, it's all edible, all usable. But again here, the legs could have been very gently confit. We're going to make them into a sausage today. But if you didn't want to have the time and your main purpose was to get this, I also suggest using these in the sauce. So with the pheasant, I'd use them in the sauce later on. What we will show you later is from the red leg partridge, another preparation on the legs. We're going to lollipop these out and then roll them, and they'll go on to become another dish, because With the red leg partridge, there's enough meat on these legs to be used as a serving.